In January of 2018, I moved away from Florida and made my way to Indonesia, where I had a short-term teaching job lined up to pay for my trip through Asia. I started in Hong Kong and then stopped in Bangkok for a few days on my way to Jakarta. Then I spent most of March, April, and May in Jakarta, with the exception of a quick day trip to Singapore to renew my visa. When my teaching contract ended, I traveled to Bali, Tokyo, and Shanghai before returning to Hong Kong for the finale of my Asia trip. I lost most of my footage from the trip due to hardware failure, but I recently managed to recover a few days worth of content from this Hong Kong trip. Here are a few highlights. And this is what my room looks like. In Hong Kong, you will find the living spaces are much smaller, but it's all the space I need. I had to carry all 27 kilograms of my luggage up about 8 flights of stairs, so I was really exhausted, and I just went out and got myself a little takeaway of a vegan cheeseburger. So I'm excited to just chill out and eat some junk food. Look at that. Delicious. It has been raining on and off for most of the day, so I ended up just walking around a little bit, and I went to an Indian place for lunch, which was really good. They made me a vegan vegetable curry, and then I walked back to the area where I'm staying, and all along the way to and from the restaurant down by the harbor, I played Pokemon Go, so that was fun. I just got finished with dinner, where I had the worst French toast I've ever had. That was a huge disappointment, and a smoothie. So I might eat a little bit more later, depending if I get hungry again. It's still kind of early. And now I'm just walking around a little bit more to play Pokemon Go again, because that's my current addiction. I just had an amazing brunch. It was fully vegan. I got an acai berry bowl and lemon chia pancakes, which were beautiful and delicious. And I don't know if you can tell, but I waited so long for the bathroom at my hostel this morning, and it just never became available. So I'm wearing yesterday's makeup and hair. I'll shower later once I get back. But right now I'm going to the Peak Tram to go get a view of Hong Kong. Taking the historic Peak Tram is at the top of most people's priority list for sightseeing in Hong Kong, but somehow I'd missed out on my last 2 trips to the city, so this was my first time catching a ride to the Peak. You're dropped off at a shopping mall, and then you make your way to the observation deck on the top floor. It's right next to Victoria Peak, which is the highest hill on the island. I got back from going to the Peak earlier. The view was beautiful. And then I relaxed a little bit. I showered. The soap was not great, so my hair still looks kind of greasy, but that's okay. And then I took myself out for dinner at a vegetarian restaurant, which most of the dishes were vegan. So I ordered a plate of vegan marinated snacks, which turned out to be a plate of very weirdly textured meat. Vegetarian meat, obviously, or vegan. And now I'm back at my hostel, and I am about to go climb the stairs to the top of my building to see what kind of sunset view there is going to be. I've stayed in this building on 3 separate trips to Hong Kong, and while I love that the cramped little hostel rooms are some of the cheapest places to stay in Hong Kong, what I love the most is this area of the city. It's not what you'd expect of a city that has some of the priciest living expenses in the world. The glitzy, glamorous hotels and apartments are mostly concentrated on Hong Kong Island, whereas across the harbor here in Kowloon, and more specifically in the neighborhood of Mongkok, there is definitely more of the feeling that this is a place dominated by locals rather than tourists. There's certainly plenty of westernized malls and restaurants and cafes that cater more to expats and tourists, but staying in this building allows me to see laundry hanging off balconies, and children playing on rooftops, and residents burning incense in their small shrines in the hallways. Maybe this is why Hong Kong feels more like home to me than most other places in the world. Well, we are back where this trip started, at Hong Kong Disneyland. My first 2 days of traveling earlier this year were here at Hong Kong Disneyland. And now this is my second to last day, and tomorrow I will be spending at Hong Kong Disneyland before I fly home to America. I had a quick buffet breakfast at Chef Mickey's in Disneyland's Hollywood Hotel. Oh my gosh, look how cute that Mickey-shaped carrot is. And then I entered the park. Since I'd already visited the park a few months ago and ridden all the rides then, I decided to prioritize getting pictures with more of the characters. In the past, getting pictures with characters wasn't usually a selling point for me at theme parks, but taking pictures with the characters is a much bigger deal in the Asia Disney parks, and I had so much fun embracing that.
Okay, everyone, picture time, and be patient. There are a lot of you, and as we all know, there's only one of me.
After I finished my second day at Disneyland, I splurged on one more nice vegan meal and then prepared for my flight home the following morning. I could have spent so much longer in Hong Kong, but I consoled myself knowing that I'd find a way to return before too long.